Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the MadyMack crafting podcast. I actually only have one craft to share with you this time, and that is knitting, but I do a variety of crafts, including sewing and embroidery and just really lots of different things. Today I am coming to you from my parents' house, so if you hear some dogs barking, that's what it is. I'm Madeline, by the way. I just realized I'm not sure if I said that yet, but I actually live right now in Connecticut with my husband Matthew and our two cats, but he's at a military training right now. He's in the Navy, so I came back to Arkansas to stay with my parents for a little while. And while I'm here, I'm taking advantage of being able to be in a backyard, so I'm sitting out on the porch. It is warm today, but that's what I'm used to, so it's really not that strange. It's very interesting to watch the podcast from people who are in Europe who seem to be frying at 90 degrees, whenever 90 is the low end of normal for what I consider to be summer. It's usually somewhere, oh, sorry, it was a fly. It's usually somewhere between 85 and 100 here, but usually around 95-ish is average. And so, yeah, it doesn't really bother me too much. But anyway, we can go ahead and get started. I don't think I shared this last time, so I did want to show it. I have this great big canvas bag that is what I normally keep all of my current projects in. Right now it has a lot of other stuff in it too, because I'm using it to carry everything outside to podcast. But it is from a shop called Sewing Down South in South Carolina, in Charleston. My husband got it for me, and it's where I keep all my projects, and today it's where I have everything. It's how I transported all of my whips to Arkansas. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. My first finished object is right here, and it is one that you have not seen before. It was started and finished since our last chat. It is the scarf number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It is a very fun pattern, super duper quick. I was not even really making it a priority, and it probably only took me about a week. It might also be that this is now the third one that I've made. I made 2 others, which I showed in the last podcast. They were gifts from my sisters, and then I decided that I wanted one too, so I just whipped this up. This one though is made in a very different fiber. The others were in the recommended Lang Cashmere. This one I made in Sewrella's Silk DK in her summer tonal. This one was called Golden Hour. Then I do have one other finished object. Let me just move things out of the way. I probably should have put my acquisitions on the bottom instead of the top. But here we go. This is the Stria hat. I made it. It will be a Christmas gift for my mother-in-law. Both of these I just blocked yesterday. They dried surprisingly quickly. One thing, I also was listening to, I actually can't remember who it was, who was talking about how long their things take to block. And they thought maybe it was because it was humid where they live. It is very humid here in Arkansas, but my parents keep a dehumidifier in the house because it is so humid outside, and I just set these up near it, and I don't know if it's just, you know, me thinking it would draw more water out of them or if it actually did, but these dried overnight because I just blocked them after I finished up with work yesterday, and they were dry whenever I went to check on them this morning. Granted though, they are both fairly lightweight projects, not super thick. This morning after I picked these up, I blocked my half and half wrap because I hadn't blocked it yet. And it is taking longer to dry, but I also folded it in half. So that will naturally make it take a little bit longer. But the reason I wanted to block it is because mine came out more rectangular than square. So I folded it in half so that the two triangles would line up. So hopefully that'll make it dry as more of a square. I apologize if you can hear the dog. That is Ginger. All right. So just a quick little whips or finished objects section this time. I do have some pretty good progress on all of my whips though. So firstly, I wanted to share, I suppose they would be half finished objects. Last time I showed just the very beginning of 2 pairs of socks. Also, when we were in Charleston, because that was for our honeymoon, I had Matthew, and then I also did pick out a sock yarn. And so these are Bamboo Pop Sock by Universal Yarns, I believe. I don't have the tag with me right now, but it's a summer sock fiber, so I think it's 50% bamboo. And then I can't remember what the other makeup is. I do talk about it in my last podcast. But I have finished the first sock for both. So I'm really enjoying the way the colorways are working up on these. I did the basic sock pattern from Summerly Knits. Very, very great first sock pattern, because these will only be the second and third socks so far that I've ever made. I haven't completed a successful pair yet. Only one other single sock, because I wanted to be able to match the size of my husband's foot. But great pattern, and hopefully I will have some finished pairs here soon. I did 12 rows for the ribbing, 6 1/4 inches, I think, for the leg, and then, varying foot lengths, and then a slip stitch heel flap and gusset on both. But yeah, I think the stripes are really cute. So I have both of those done, and then I have started both of the second ones. So while I've been back here in Arkansas, I have been going into the office to work. I am an accountant. I work for an accounting firm in the tax department that's based here in Arkansas. The rest of the time I just work remotely. But while I've been here, I've been going to the office, so this has been my lunchtime project that I take with me. And when you really dedicate the time to it, it's surprising how much you can get done in an hour. So that has been great. But I've cast both these on immediately because everyone talks about second sock syndrome, and I'm trying to combat that as much as I can. It also helps that I have a deadline. I think I mentioned last time I'm a very deadline oriented person, so just having that kind of helps me stay on track. But regardless, I'm hoping to get these done maybe next week. Today is Friday, and I'm actually flying down to Florida to visit Matthew at his training, so it'll be some good plain knitting. I'm hoping to get through both legs at least tomorrow on the flight, and yeah, so that will be good. My other priority project has been the Saven sweater by Babin, I believe. So the dog wanted to go inside, but we're talking about the Saven sweater. I believe by Babin. Let's see, it's on the, yes, Babin. The only pages I have printed out are the charts. I pretty much do all of my patterns. I save them to books on my iPhone, so I'm sure there's an equivalent on Android or whatever, but that way I can access them from anywhere and I don't have to worry about having Wi-Fi or anything, so that's really nice, but it's hard to read charts on your phone. But yes, so I showed last time, I have both sleeves done of this sweater, and then I just had the ribbing of the back last time, but now I have all that I need in order to start decreasing for the sleeves. So this sweater is for my husband Matthew. This is the first full sweater I've ever made. Aside from this, I've only made garment wise, I've made the camisole number 5 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I did my secret little crop by, oh shoot, I'll write it down below. I've just blanked on her name, but so many people have made that pattern. I'm sure you've heard of it before. And then I did the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose, and I did the short sleeve version. So this will be the first thing I've ever made with sleeves. And it is bottom up and seamed and cabled and in a men's size. So it is quite a big undertaking. But once I really got going with this and made it a priority, I think it's going really well. I'm really liking this center cable pattern, and the yarn I am using for this is the recommended yarn in the pattern. So Babin designed this for Hudson West. So I am using their Porch base and the color Fawn. This is a really nice yarn, 70% merino, 30% Corriedale, and I just love it. I also brought along with me another batch of Forge in the color Lake. It's a nice like dusty gray blue color that I want to make a sweater for myself. It is The Ward by Sloan Rosenthal, I believe. It was also designed specifically for Hudson West. That way I can make a similar but not the same sweater for myself. I would like to have both of these done by November 10th. That is my birthday. I don't necessarily like to match, but I like to coordinate. I like a good theme, and I think cable sweaters is a great theme for my birthday this year. So that is the goal. So I'm going to be taking this with me as well, and on my flights, one is only like an hour and the other one is 2 hours. And so I think on the shorter one, I'll probably work on the socks, and then on the longer one, I think that's long enough to pull this out and work on, because each row takes me about 15 minutes, each cable row. So yeah, it takes some time, but I'm really enjoying it. It's great, and I can't wait for it to be done so that he can wear it. Yeah, but after this, just have to do the decreasing because it's a saddle shoulder construction, so decreases, and then I have to do the same thing for the back, and then seam it all together and do the neck. So very exciting on that one. And then those are really the only two that I've been working on. I've been working on the socks whenever I'm at work, and then the sweater whenever I'm here at the house. But I liked having this as an in-between project as well, because when we're watching a movie or TV, or if I'm reading and then I start to get tired, but I'm still not, quite asleep yet, the cabled sweater is just too much to think about. But I don't want to waste my more attention span on just socks. So this was a nice in-between, especially because I've done it a few times now. So it was a relatively easy thing where I didn't have to check the pattern, but it still had some interest. There's some increases, there's the lace rows every once in a while, and it was just a really nice in-between. So I'm gonna try to keep that sort of idea going And so my very next cast on is going to be a Harlow hat by Andrea Mowry. I have these two right here for that. These are Posy by Purl Soho. This one is pear green, and then this one's like midnight or something like that. I think it has to do with the time of day. Anyway, they're Seahawks colors, so this will be a hat for my father-in-law. They live up in Seattle. That is the Seattle football team, and so that will be his Christmas present. But I think that will be a good next thing to cast on. I've never done brioche before, especially two-color brioche, so that will be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think once I get used to it, that'll be a good in-between level, because it'll be repetitive in that it's the same brioche all over, but brioche takes a little bit more thought than just regular stockinette. So that will be my next cast on, especially to take with me down to Florida. But my next one that I'm really excited for, that I think will be a good follow-up to this, because this is, you know, like a nice bandana size, is a shawl. And I did talk about this one last time, but now I'm actually ready to start it, or I'll probably start it next week whenever I get back. But this is for the Briochelicios by Andrea Mowry, and I am doing it not in the same colors, but in the same yarn, and very heavily inspired by Emily Curtis of the Gently Chaotic Knits podcast. She did hers in linen quill, and I am as well. My main color is, let's see, there we go, honey pink. And then I have my three contrast colors. So I have turmeric yellow, which is, this is what was left over from my half and half wrap, and this is approximately 60 grams. I did the large size of the half and half wrap, and I did it up a few needle sizes because I didn't want it to be too dense. I did it on a size US 5, and so mine is pretty large, and I still have more than half a skein left of my last one for each color. And then this is the color I'm going to use on my next half and half wrap. This is High Tide, so I'm going to use this one for my second color. And since I had so much left of this one, I am not worried about running out and not having enough for my half and half, especially because I want to size down this time and use a size 4, just because I can and I feel like it, and I just want to see what it'll look like, slightly denser. And then my last one is Rhubarb Pink, and this one I also have 3 skeins of, because I originally, oops, dropped the ball, was going to use it for a half and half wrap, but I ended up deciding that those were just not the best pairing in the world. Or I think I actually originally got this one to go with the honey pink, and I just felt like it wasn't quite what I wanted. I really like it with all of these together, but just having those two wasn't quite right, and it's like too similar of a, I mean, obviously they're two very different colors, but the vibe of the two was too similar, I guess. So I'm doing this with Flamingo Pink, which is like a neon pink. It's one of the ones that Stacy of Stress Knits has used for one of her half and half wraps. And I just think that's more the feel I was going for with it, rather than this darker purpley pink. But anyway, I have 2 more skeins of that. If I have more left over, I'm thinking of making one of the, I believe it's called Diana scarves by Ozetta, which also uses linen quill, and then maybe like a more lacy, lightweight shawl with the rest that I have. I'm not sure exactly though. But yes, so that is my next cast on once I get back. And I feel like this is going by really quickly today. Last time I didn't know how it ended up being an hour, but it did. And then today I feel like I'm breezing right on through. Anyway, let's see, I think those are all of the things I brought out with me. I do have some other things that I'm planning on knitting while I'm here, so in the next month, but they're not quite so imminent, so we don't have to talk about those. Yes, so I guess this moves us into acquisitions. So I've already mentioned her once, Sewrella. This was a summer tonal that I used for my scarf, but she is by far my favorite hand dyer. I love her colors so much. And what really gets me is the pre-order. They're only open for 24 hours, and then I know it's gonna be so hard to ever get those colors again, so I have to jump on it. And I did, and I got my pre-order in the mail. So I have 2 of them here. This was from her, oh gosh, Mayflower collection. That was the summer, well, released in the summertime collection. It wasn't specific to summer. But, and the reason that I just had to is, as I said, we currently live in Connecticut, but we didn't find out that we were moving to Connecticut until, I think, March or April. Anyway, it was around the time that this collection was released, and the Mayflower is a bed and breakfast in Connecticut, and it is what all these colors are based on, and it was just too perfect. I was already, a little bit sad about having to leave the Virginia Beach area because we hadn't been there very long, and I had some good friends there, but I knew we were moving to Connecticut, and this place is in Connecticut, and I just got excited about the connection. Plus the colors are all beautiful and very much in my wheelhouse, so I had to get them. And I won't show you all of them. I'll just show you like one color of each. So these 2 are on the silk sock base, which is 50% superwash merino and 50% silk, and it has a beautiful shine to it. And I got these 2. I believe it's called the Limelight Shawl. It's in the 52 Weeks of Shawls book, which I did not bring down here with me, so I cannot confirm. But I got it in 2 colors. This one is called You Are Good for the Soul, which I just think is the most perfect name ever. If this one comes back for her greatest hits release at the beginning of next year, I'm definitely getting more. And then this one was called The Lobby, and it's got lots of lovely pinks and greens and blues and yellows, and this same pink in this one, so I think it will go together really well. And then I got 4 skeins in the classic DK of this color, Celery, who I believe was the interior designer for the inn. And I want to make a cardigan with this. I think holding it single, I'm going to do the cardigan number 7 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, since I already have the, or no, not that one, the Novice cardigan by Petite Knit. I was going to try to do the cardigan number 7 by My Favorite Things Knitwear because I already own that pattern, but I don't think the weight is going to be quite right. I'm going to use that one for something else, but I think this is really a lovely color Look how well it matches the wall behind me, actually. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to using it. And put these back in their protective plastic while I'm outside. Gosh, if I can get them in the bag. There we go. And then I'll save my very favorite for last. I just loved this nice neutral yellowy cream whenever she released it. This is Fireflies. And this, I got 3 skeins to make a daily pullover by Paula Pereira for Purl Soho. I think it will be, it's pretty close to my skin tone, but as you can tell, that doesn't really bother me. My t-shirt is also pretty skin tone, but I think this will make a really lovely, very wearable, just everyday sweater. As the name implies, a daily pullover. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. This one is 100% superwash merino. It is the classic sock base. And then my very favorite. So this one is called the Garden Room, and I got it on Stellina. Let's see. If I move it around, will you be able to see the sparkle? Oh, I hope you can tell. It's got gold Stellina in it, and it has these really lovely, this light lilac-y purple, and then the darker purple, and then kind of that same neutral as the Fireflies, and some pink and some lighter and darker greens, and it's just perfect. It's perfect. And I'm going to pair this, I think it'll match this light, more lilac-y purple, the Soft Silk Mohair by Knitting for Olive in the color, I think it's called Unicorn Purple. I think it'll match really well. To make a shawl also out of 52 Weeks of Shawls. Cannot remember what it's called, but it's the one that Inga from Knitting Traditions made a while back. It almost looks pleated. It's like a, actually I haven't read through the construction, so I don't really know how it's made, but she made it a while back, and that's what I want to make with this. If you can't tell from my plans, my favorite thing to knit are shawls. I love to wear them. I mean, I'll wear them year round. I don't really care how hot it gets. I run fairly cold. The minute I go inside, I'm cold. It does not matter how warm it is outside. And basically anything below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I consider to be absolutely freezing. So I really like them. And they're great to wear while I work from home, so I can just wrap up and be nice and cozy. And it's just like a wearable blanket. I mean, could there be a more perfect garment? I don't think so. So, those are my main acquisitions. I did also get her wool wash from this collection in the scent Mayflower. It's what I blocked all of these items in. And it's one of the reasons why I waited to block my half and half wrap, because I wanted it to smell like Mayflower, and it did not disappoint. It is a wonderful, like very clean, feminine scent. It's the first one that I've gotten from Sewrella, but everyone raves about them. So I really just don't think you can go wrong. They're all great options. And then I also, the day that Matthew left for his training, I dropped him off at the base, and then they were gonna fly out. Right after that, obviously I was sad that he was gonna be leaving for so long, and so what did I do? I bought yarn to make him another sweater, even though I'm still not finished with the first one. And so what I'm gonna do is make I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's a sweater by Petite Knit. It's the Hen I'm gonna call it Handsome, even though that's probably not right, but it's spelled like Hanstholm, maybe. I'm gonna call it Handsome, but it's her Handsome sweater, and it's in Pure Ghent, and this color. So whenever I told him to pick, so he actually picked out this sweater a little while ago, and the yarn was all sold out in the US, and then I tracked it down and ordered it because I was sad. And so we had watched on Netflix, it's a Netflix film called, it's called Guernsey and the Potato Peel Pie Society. And the sweater that the main man wears for a lot of the movie is this like really thick navy sweater. So he wanted a navy sweater. The Handsome sweater was one of the closest ones I can find to that style, and I'm gonna try to do a really thick neckband on it, maybe do it a little bit shorter just to kind of match the style of the one in the movie. But navy, this navy was really hard to find. I originally started looking for it maybe 2 months ago, and it was all sold out at all of the stores that I knew of that sold Pure Ghent in the US. So I got this one. I'll show you the sticker. And I left all of this in the bag because there are 14 dolls and I didn't want them to go everywhere. From the Galt House of Yarn. This is a Canadian yarn seller, and they had this color. So I don't know why it's been sold out so long on the other websites. I know there's just, supply chain delays in a lot of the world right now, so it's probably something to do with that, but Galt House of Yarn did have it. And let's see, what is the color number? It's called Marine, but that's never what it says on the ball. 5575. Yes, let's see, color, can you see that? There we go. So 5575 Marine, that is the color. It is a beautiful, deep, rich navy where you can still tell it's blue. It's definitely not like a black reading navy. It's definitely blue, but it's dark enough that it's not royal blue. Kind of the perfect navy, in my opinion. All right, well, that went pretty fast, actually. So next time I'm hoping to have those socks finished, both pairs. So it'll probably be about a month. This is the 2nd day of September. These are all of my August plans and makes. So hopefully the end of September will be the next time you see me. Hopefully by then I will have maybe the Saven sweater finished, definitely the socks finished. I would like to have started the ward sweater, the other cabled sweater I'd like to make. Definitely want to be started on the Briochelicios. Hopefully finish the Harlow hat. In my mind it's September, so I'd really like to have Christmas squared away here pretty soon. I like to have things done well before their time so that they don't stress me out. Yeah, so I think those are all of my next big things. Speaking of Sewrella, last week she had another launch. It was her Autumn in New York collaboration with 2 of Wands. So pretty, but I already, have all this yarn that I just got, and I really just don't need any more right now, so I restrained. I held back, but there are a few that I'm hoping will come back for her Greatest Hits collection, which I think she does every January for all the bestsellers of the previous year, especially Jazz in the Park. Jazz in the Park is very similar to the Garden Room, just a little bit more fall reading rather than summer, and I would really like to grab a hold of some of that. All right, well, my brother is here looking at me, seeing if the dogs can come outside. So I guess I will be wrapping up And then next week I would like to maybe do a little bit of a knitting vlog while I'm down in Florida, but we'll see if that works out or not. Hope y'all all have a good rest of your day, your weekend, your month, you know, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you again soon.